Hi, it's Peter from Record again. I'm just going to go through in this video some details on our packs of blades. We do a pack of 3 blades for each of our bandsaws, starting from the Sabre 450, working down to the smallest machine in the range at the moment, which is a BS350. And each one we try and select a range of blades that'll cover a few applications for yourself. Now, these can be refined depending on what you're doing, and they give you a guide throughout the range, what you can do and what you can achieve with your bandsaw. And this is only a small selection of the blades that are available for any one of the machines. In this pack, for instance, we've got 3 blades in the BS350 pack, starting from a quarter with a 6 skip, a 3/8 with a 4 skip, and then we've got a 3/4 with a 3 skip. And basically, so I'm going to be working with the 3/4 as the largest blade in the range for this type of bandsaw, or this bandsaw in particular, the BS350S. So first of all, this is how the blade's going to come to you if you have them up. They're all sort of wrapped up, they're reduced in size, and they've got little tabs around them just to keep them together and make them safe while you unpack them. Now, each of these blades will need just a clean down before you actually put them onto the bandsaw itself. And before you actually put it onto the bandsaw as well, make sure it's an ideal time just to go over your machine and give it a little clean out as well on the wheels, on the tyres themselves. Before you put the blade on, just give them a little rub over with a little cloth like these. Not sandpaper or anything like that. This is like a Brillo, not Brillo pad, a nylon pad, and then you can just give that a quick spin round, top and bottom. And what it'll do is it'll just fetch off the muck and the bits of dust that adhere to that. It's amazing what dirt you do get inside of your machine. So it's dust and also the residue off the bandsaw blade. So these blades do need a bit of a clean up before you put them on. They come from a manufactured process, so they're going to have a little bit of residue on there from the cutting process that they've been through. So what I'm going to do now is fit this blade, and then I will come back to you once we're set up, or the final parts of the setup, and then go through some cutting processes on there. So we'll catch up with you in a short while. Now I'm going to do a few cuts for you. So the 3TPI is a good ripping blade, so you can get your timber down, cut down really quickly. The finish on it is it's going to be a coarser finish, but what it's going to allow you to do is do decent sized stock quite quickly. Now, if you want a better finish, then you've got to look at putting more teeth into your work. But then it depends on the capacity you're cutting. I'll chop up some pieces which are going to be 150, 200 millimeter, sort of 6 inches and above sort of thing. And with the 3 teeth in that blade, it's going to cut pretty easily. And now, if I wanted a better finish, then I can put a 4 TPI in there. I'll get a really good finish on there, and also it'll give me a decent feed rate for cutting. But if I want an even better finish, then I'll put a finer tough blade in there with a deeper stock of material. What you're going to find is there's no clearance for the teeth to cut. Then it's going to be a real struggle pushing it through, so you've got to take your time. So the finer teeth blades, tough blades, are for doing you get better cut, but in a shallower stock of material. So first of all, I'm just going to square up the end of a piece of timber here and just do a simple little mortise joint sort of thing, tenon Mortise and Tenon. So I just want to square the end of the timber at first, so I'm going to bring my guides down, and I just won't be able to pass over. I've already squared my fence off, and a good thing about the wider blades, ideally when you're setting your machine up, it's a great tool to help you achieve good alignment for your settings, for squaring the table to the actual blade itself, and also when you're doing your settings off the blade to a T-slot or the fence. In this particular on this particular machine now, I've got the upgrade fence fitted to there. So what I want to do is square the T-slots to the blade, so then I know I'm square off there. So that with the wider blade, it makes it a lot easier. I can take a measurement with a blade across 2 points, front and back, because I'm working off there. Then I can set my fence up to the T-slot because I know that's already square to the blade. So when you're setting up your machine, the widest blade that you can use would be great for setting your alignments easily. So anyway, so I've set my mitre fence square to this blade, and now I just want to trim off the face of this and bring that down so as I can clear underneath the guides, and I want to be able to see through the cut. So, but I don't need a big expanse of blade exposed. So get the machine running first, then put your extractor on. If I set this approximately 12mm, around 1/2 inch. What I want to do is, because your tough configuration again is one to the left, one to the right and one down the middle, I'm going to set it to the one that's to the left, that's pointing towards the fence. So that's going to be the widest cut. So if I bring that down, I can roughly measure off there. So if I say about 12mm, 1/2 inch, something like that. And what you can do is, if it's more critical and you want to get a better measurement, use a piece of waste material. Find out the best face. This is this is only a small offcut, and it's a bit warped. It's been outside, but it'll do for what we want to do anyway. So again, start the bandsaw up first. My tool rest up. And what I can do now is just that's my first cut, and if I want a repeat of that, I can put a little clamp on the back, take that up to the back of the timber. That's just going to act as a little stop. And I can do the other side. Now to clean up the other part of it, again go back to the mitre fence. I've got plenty of depth to go through this time. You just set that on there. Very basic joint. What you can see on there as well, because it's a coarse blade, it's got a rougher finish on there, but if this was just going to be used as a joint, it wouldn't really matter if you were making some gates or something like that. The roughness of the finish wouldn't really matter. Also, you could use some glue on there, and that will adhere better because of the coarse finish on there. Last year I had the unfortunate problem of losing a couple of trees, or it has left me with. There's quite a bit of timber to play around with and do bits and pieces with, and also a lot of timber for my wood burner, so it's coming a little bit useful. Well, unfortunately. And the only reason it came down was we had some storm damage, the trees are damaged, and we had to get them looked after. So again, with my mitre fence, what I can do is just do basically a nice little cut across there, and I will check that I can go underneath the guides all right this time. So I'm going to rip across the timber, then I'll go up the timber, and I've stabilised the cut. Okay, I'll cut a big section away, but if you're going to do anything like this, you need a flat surface to work off, because with a big lump of timber like this, if I haven't got that stabilised underneath there, because this is round, it's going to want to take it over, and you'll do 2 or 3 cuts without any problem, and then you catch a knot or something, then you're going to be then you're going to have a bent blade, and worse in some cases. But so be careful with something like this. So I've already got a flat stock to work underneath it, and this is saying over 12 months old now, so, and it's still quite, because it's a big section, it's still a little bit resiny. So you can see by the growth rings in this, it's not a very old timber at all, but the cut is, again you can see the finish of the cut. So this is a 3 TPI blade, but let the blade do the cutting, don't push it through, because then the blade will try and find its easiest way through your material, and that's where you'll get a lot of errors. So what we're going to do next is going to do a rip cut the whole length of this. See what I'm like up against the fence. That's good that way. This has been a little bit better. A little bit rocky on the bottom. Should do. Again, when we're feeding through, make sure everything's well nicely locked off. Using your fence well, got clearance underneath there. You're clear cutting through as well. This is a large piece of timber. In some cases, you might be better off with something like this, which has got rough surfaces, putting a pair of gloves on. But I'm only putting these on because of the timber, because it's rough and I might get splinters and stuff like that, and it might distract me from when I'm feeding through. So no, and keep your hands in front or side of the cut. What I don't want to do is start pushing over here and timber going across. The bottom's a little bit wobbly anyway, so I might clean that one up first and then do it on the other side. Out the way at the back. What you can do is a paddle as well for extra protection. So these are good little grippers. It's a little bit off the back because it's quite distorted. Try and slow down a little bit so you don't burst through. If I slow down now, I can carry on through the cut, let the blades come out, and then just take the strip material through and out the way. So not bad. The first cut was a bit wobbly because it wasn't a nice straight edge to work off to. So again, that's something you've got to be careful of when you're doing it. But that is what a 3/4 blade can do. So when you're doing something like this, again, it's an ideal blade is your 3/4 blade. It's nice and thick. It's got the advantage of not having a lot of teeth in there. So if I set this up roughly to the fence, I want some little loglets sort of thing, put that against there, start my machine up, but I don't want all that blade exposed. But what I've got to take it into consideration when I'm cutting something like this is the nature of the timber. Again, because this is on a round, I want to try and get the best face down. Again, I'm wearing gloves because it's coarse timber and I don't want to get a splinter or something like again, or be distracted when I'm doing a cut. So I want to keep a decent grip on here, bearing in mind a round wants to do what it does best, and that's go round. So I want enough clearance to get the timber through and to accommodate for any distortion in the timber itself. blade. And I've got a bit of fuel for my burner. I'll work out some cut patterns for the 3/8 blade and then a 1/4, and we'll follow up with a couple of videos on that. So look forward to catching you soon. Bye for now.